Hello.
Welcome.
We'd like to welcome you to Warrior Commission Now, where we discuss and chat about practical ways to live out your warrior commission in your day-to-day life with God. We are just really excited to talk each time that we come together. God opens up so many different topics, really. And as Sharon and I discuss these things, it's fun because we really just for us, it just goes back to having conversations about God and how he's moving and what he's doing in our lives. You know, what does this mean and what do we do with it? Are those questions
Right.
we're asking kind of often? We're always asking those same questions. God, what does this mean? And what do we do with it?
Right.
And so I just want to introduce myself. I'm Christine Casten.
And I'm Sharon Rudolph.
Yes, and we are we both serve as directors in the Warrior Commission. I'm the executive director of the Warrior Commission. Sharon serves as the director of member development. And in those roles, we have just had the blessing of walking alongside a lot of different people who are growing, launching, soaring, just going into these amazing places, deeper spaces with God. And it's just an incredible journey. So there's so much inspiration that comes from our Warrior Commission community and who they are and the conversations we get to have with them. So I do want to, give a hats off, so to speak, to the warriors in the Warrior Commission, because we wouldn't be where we are without each of you.
Right.
And we just are so grateful for being able to journey and link arms together and be part of this Warrior Commission tribe. If you're interested in finding out more about the Warrior Commission, you can go to thewarriorcommission.com and you can check out, we have a resources area that has blogs, that has videos and things like that you can access that maybe can encourage you in other ways beyond, or deeper ways beyond what hopefully we're doing here.
Yes.
Commission Now. So today's topic, Sharon,
yes.
This is a topic, maybe we should kind of wave back and forth as we say it. I don't know. But it's tossed to and fro. Who determines what you know? And this is, I think, kind of a hot topic in some sense for what's going on in today's society.
Yes, very much so.
We have seen with COVID, with the political situations, with, just actually day to day sometimes, we just see how, it's like this thing is bad and this is awful and this is fearful and this is, and oh no, we've got to worry about this. But we can step into a deeper place of knowing with the Lord. And Sharon, I would love for you to talk about kind of what that deeper place can be, and how we sometimes, we have choices and we have options with what we choose to believe and kind of our stance in that. I would love for you to kind of cover that too, if you don't mind.
I don't know. You get me started. I can talk and talk and talk.
I know. Jump in and say, wait a minute.
Yes. I love how in relationship with God, he gives us so many opportunities to explore and discover what's most important, and to explore and discover what the truth is. And in the world around us, we're told all the time, you have to make this important.
Mm-hmm.
But
everything is important.
Everything's important, and there's just too much, and it's overwhelming. And yet, I love how partnering with God helps us focus on what of truth is really important. And it isn't always about what is obvious knowledge.
Right. That's true. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And in our culture today, there is such a focus on who's the expert, who knows the most. Mm-hmm. And if they are an expert, you need to listen to them and you need to make what they say the most important. But I think if you're a person of faith, if you have a relationship with Jesus, I think it's really good to take that thing back to Jesus and say, okay, what do you say is most important? I want to hear and know what you say. I need my focus to be on today, because if you get your information just from the experts or the most knowledgeable or the most loud, depending on what you're working with,
Yes.
it is very much this.
Right. Right.
Do you wear a mask or do you not wear a mask? Right? Do you go to work or do you not go to work? Who do you vote for? Gosh, that's just so complicated. So
That's so true. Well, and I think that, when what we're talking about is that there seems to be in our society today, there seems to be a real pressure to choose one side or another.
yes.
You are this or you are that.
Right.
You are, if you have faith, then you don't know anything about the world. If you choose to have knowledge about the world, then you can't have faith. And
Right.
and that's not that God did not create us like that.
Right.
God created us to take what we see to Him, and with our faith and through our faith in Him, let Him be our filter.
Yes.
And as we filter it through His eyes, we may say, you know what, that thing in the world is really an awful thing, but oh my goodness, look, God, what you're doing to turn it to your good.
Right.
And how you're moving and what you're doing through that, not because He caused something negative, but we probably caused it.
Yeah.
We made a choice a long time ago to step out of that place of protection into
Right.
the world as we know it now, and we're still dealing with the repercussions of that. But there is a thing that God is doing in our hearts to help us see things differently, and see the third choice, really, right?
Yes. Yes. Because so much of life is both and.
Mm-hmm.
There is a both and to things.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus said the most important commandment is to love God
First,
first, and then love your neighbor.
Yeah.
And loving our neighbor comes from that love relationship we have with God.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the most important thing, and if we choose to know and to embrace knowledge, holding on to that as most important,
Mm-hmm.
it really does help settle everything else out, because the foundation of that is God loved us first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He loved us first. He really does love us. Even if we feel like we're in a tug of war, even if things are messy in the world around us,
Mm-hmm.
He still loves us. And to be able to go back to that and say, okay, God, I know that you love me.
Mm-hmm.
So what about this?
Exactly.
What about this thing? And be able to hear His heart for that.
Right.
And that He is doing good with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because oftentimes what we value as an end outcome isn't His end outcome.
Right. Exactly.
And then we come back to alignment with God and His heart.
Mm-hmm.
And you are excellent with alignment.
Well, it's one of the tools that we have in the Warrior Commission that helps us recognize when we're out.
Yes.
And helps us understand how to get back into that place of alignment, that deeper abiding with the Lord.
Right.
And it's been something that I've been so grateful for. It's
Yes.
One, to even know that it's possible.
Right.
that's the first piece. But the other part is to really understand that it's a real thing, and being able to choose to see through God's eyes, because he's omnipresent. He's with us all the time. And just to say, God, let me see this through your eyes. What are you seeing? What are you doing in this
Yes.
moment in time? And the perspective is always so different than what I was seeing,
Right.
in my ability to look at something, sometimes through my raw emotions, or through my own limited, narrow understanding. And then when God steps in and he says, but this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm releasing. And it's through this thing that seems so constraining that I'm actually bringing great freedom.
Right.
And it's a huge shift. There's a weightiness to his presence in our lives when we are able to do that. And it changes how we react to everything around us. And I like to say, let's respond from God's heart rather than reacting to the circumstance.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because when we respond from God's heart, there's something that happens that's this connection to the flow of heaven, to the flow of his love, to the flow of what his promises and what his provision are in that moment in time, that we get into that place. And it carries us like a current into a completely different way of seeing things and living.
Yes.
And not being tossed to and fro by the whims of the world.
Right. And that relationship with God and cultivating that and making that the most important thing, that first love piece. Mm-hmm. It's like the keel of a ship. Yeah. And it's the keel of the ship that goes deep into the water for a sailing ship. It goes deep into the water, and the rudder may tell, and the sail may tell the ship which direction to turn, but it's the keel that keeps the boat upright.
Right, from top.
Yes. So you're not leaning back and forth, and the waves can't undo you. Mm-hmm. And it's in the quiet place. It is in choosing to explore what the heck is abiding anyway. And
exactly. It's a tricky word for just choosing to say, yes, I want to go deeper into your heart, God.
Right. Yeah. Right. And learning how to take what he's showing us and what he's giving us, whether it's from a Bible or from a relationship or from a speaker or from a song, wherever he brings it into our circumstances, into our sphere, to allow God to use that to take us deep in his heart, to see and understand things that go beyond knowledge to knowing.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll tell my kids, it's what you know that you know that you know. It's knowing in your knower. And sometimes you can't explain that to someone.
Right.
You just know. And that's what comes out of spending that time with a mental focus on the things of God.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're not tossed to and fro. You wake up one day and go, oh gosh, this isn't bothering me. And it may have taken years to get there.
Right.
But
you know,
it's about practice. But then you're able to say, this isn't going to derail me. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to be able to walk and to love and to live mm-hmm. in the joy of the Lord, no matter what the external is.
Right. And in that place, you know, kind of to use a cliche phrase, you find the goodness of God in the land of the living.
Yes.
And that's really what it means not to be tossed to and fro.
Right.
Because really the way it works in society is that the thing that seems the most fearful thing or the biggest deal is what's going to be the latest and greatest, right? Because it's about viewership, it's about readership, it's about yes, it's about getting the news out there, but it's about getting the news out there in a different way than it used to be. And in that place, we have an opportunity not to be tossed to and fro by what's there, and maybe not even to choose to. You know, I know a lot of people who have chosen to receive their information differently, in a way that doesn't create so much of an opinion spin on what they're looking at. You know, they'll go to multiple resources and gather their information so that they're not only getting, you know, one-sided one opinion type of
Right.
information. They're finding out what both sides are, and I think that doesn't mean that changes their opinion of the side, but it does give them an understanding of what's being shared, and maybe in the midst of that, by taking it to the Lord, the pieces of truth that are actually there will be separated from what's opinion and what's real. And that keeps us again from being driven by the fear that is always a motivation factor.
Yes. Yes.
in how things are expressed throughout this world today.
Right. And we don't have to live in fear. We haven't been given a spirit of fear. Right. So I love in the abiding and in the letting God be the filter of what comes in, that we have an option. We have an option to not be fearful. And so we want to encourage you guys to go deep with God and see what options he's bringing into your life to help you not be fearful, to not be tossed, but to be able to be stable and peaceful no matter what's going on around you. And if you want to be a part of a community that knows how to do that, go check out thewarriorcommission.com. We train to go deep with God, to know who we are in the kingdom, and to be able to walk in alignment with first love with Papa. So we thank you for joining us today, and we encourage you to learn to laugh and delight and not be fearful.
Yes.
So,
amen.
Have a good day.
Bye. Bye, guys.